Good afternoon, friends. You are most welcome to Think Eyes channel. Today we are going to discuss Practicing Anthropology by MAAN, and our topic is Forensic Anthropology, in which we are going to discuss Visit to the Scene of Occurrence. Let us begin the topic. When a crime scene is to be visited where an unidentified body or skeletal remains are reported to be present, a team is constituted by the concerned police station under the supervision of an investigation officer where the crime is reported and sent to the crime scene to examine. This team conducts the research for the physical evidence, identifies them, pack them, and prepare an inventory of all the items after photographing the crime scene from different angles. A sketch of the crime scene is also prepared, and then the team returns back to the police station. All the exhibits are labeled and numbered and sent to the forensic laboratory for examination. In the forensic laboratory, the exhibits are forwarded to the concerned division for examination. For example, the skeletal material, if recovered, is sent to the forensic anthropology unit of the biology division. Whether the bones are human or non human, a careful examination of the skeletal material recovered a forensic anthropologist can differentiate a human bone from that of the non human with the help of comparative anatomy knowledge. There are obvious variations in the skull of a human and a non human, as the animals have a large facial part in comparison to the cranial part. This is just the reverse in case of human, who possesses a very large cranium and a very small facial component. Secondly, the position of foramen magnum is medial in case of human, while among animals it is posteriorly located. The eye orbits are anteriorly located for humans, while among non-humans they are laterally placed. The human long bones exhibit torsion, while the non-human bones do not exhibit any kind of torsion. Even if the bones are burned, the charring is never complete, and if examined with care, it is possible to recognize the material as bone. Problem is faced when many synthetic materials, due to high temperature burning, may take a typical shape looking like bone or part of bone, or when very small fragments are found. In such cases, if the fragment is head or condyles of the bone, still it is safer to say about its identity. But when it is not so, then microscopic study of the bone may lead to ascertain about it through the presence of Harversian canal system. Whether they belong to one or more than one individual. On examining the skeletal remains, it is quite simple to identify if the remains belong to one or more than one person. The simplest way is the sorting technique, where we sort out similar looking bones. For example, if there are 5 femora and 3 radi and 2 fibulae, 5 femora, 3 radi and 2 fibulae, they could belong to a maximum of 5 persons, provided that all the 5 femora exhibit different length and belong to same side, right or left. Similarly, the 3 radi could be of 3 persons or 2 persons depending upon their side. The 2 fibulae could be of 1 person or 2 person. While deciding this, the expert must know to conduct measurements on the bones as well as identify their sides. What is the probable sex of the individual? Determination of skeletal sex is of prime significance, as it helps in the process of identification. It can be performed by conducting a detailed examination of skull and pelvis with the reasonable accuracy. The examination of skull involves non-metric observations on the texture of the skull, its weight, condition of the supraorbital ridges, projection of frontal and parietal eminences, shape of the orbits, margins of the orbits, size of the mastoid processes, shape of foramen magnum, shape of palate, size of the lower jaw, slope of the forehead, and shape of palate. A careful examination of these traits can help in assessing sex of an unknown skull up to around 90% accuracy. Similarly, the following observation on the pelvis can help in determining the skeletal sex from pelvis. We observe the size and shape of the pelvis to begin. Subsequently, the variation in the size of acetabulum and obturator foramen is observed. The wide greater sciatic notch and obtuse subpubic angle is a typical female character. Variation in the size of auricular surface, ichthyopubic ramus, and alignment of ilium bone and size and shape of sacrum is observed to determine the sex of pelvis with around 93% accuracy. On combining the skull and the pelvis, the sex determination can be performed with over 96% accuracy. The long bones alone do not help much in sex determination, but in combination with the skull and pelvis they prove useful. Identification of the bones. To identify the bones, one has to have the knowledge about human osteology. The human body has a fixed number of bones and they may be classified as flat bones, cranial bones, innominates, and scapula. Long bones, bones of upper and lower limbs. Short bones, metacarpals, metatarsals, and phalanx of hand and feet. And irregular bones, vertebrae, carpal, and tarsal bones. Complete bones are not difficult to identify due to their typical features, but when they are fragmentary, it depends upon the part of the bone available for examination. Activity 1. Visit an anthropology department or a medical college to get familiar with bones and identify each bone of the human skeleton. Racial affiliation of the person from the remains. The population of the world may be divided into three major groups, that is, Caucasoid, Mongoloids, and Negroids. On the basis of morphological features, geographical area of inhabitation added to their differentiation, but due to migration and interbreeding, the concept of race does not hold good anymore. However, the forensic anthropologist may attempt to determine the race of the skeletal remains on the basis of skull. The features like head shape, breadth of nasal aperture, nasal root, jaw thickness, brow ridge size, and forehead slope help in categorization. There are certain indices based on craniometric measurements which may help in categorizing skull into different racial categories. What is the probable age of the individual? Human skeleton provides a good number of indicators of age and sex, and both can be determined to a very high degree of correctness depending upon which part of the skeleton is available for examination. For age determination, bone histology, number of osteon increases with age, teeth eruption sequence, cranial suture closure, pubic symphysis face, sternal end of ribs, and ossification of various bones help to a large extent. There are two sets of teeth in the whole life of a person, that is milk teeth and permanent teeth. Formation and growth of teeth may also help in estimation of age of an individual of younger age. Demarison suggests an 8-stage formula of teeth development for age determination. Another parameter which can be used for age determination is from changes in teeth because of advancing age. Gustafsson developed a method to determine the age beyond 11 years by studying the degenerating stages of teeth like attrition, wearing down of incisal or occlusal surfaces, periodontosis, development of secondary dentine, cementum apposition, root resorption, and transparency of root, 4 stages of changes in ascending order. Cranial suture can be set as the broadest indicator of age, but when no other body part except skull is available, these can also give an estimate of age. Many works have detailed closer pattern of each suture, including age at the time of fusion of various parts of a particular suture. It has been observed that suture closure in different populations vary significantly. The major cranial suture which are used in age estimation are as following: metopic suture, basilar suture, sagittal suture, lamb- lambdoid suture, paritomastoid, temporal tempomastoid, paritomastoid, temporomastoid, occipitomastoid, sphenotemporal, and sphenoparietal. The beginning of the closure and the complete closure of these sutures provide an estimate of the age of an individual. The phase of pubic symphysis provides a more reliable parameter than suture closure, and it can be studied for the changes on this surface with age by dividing the whole process into 10 stages. For these stages, outline of the face having outer border, inner border, and superior and inferior extremity is studied. Also, some features found on the surface like ridging, billowing, and ossific nodules are observed to determine a particular stage and thus inferring from it the age. Age may also be estimated by examining external end of the ribs with respect to changes in form, shape, texture, and overall quality of the ribs. In addition to this, some changes like formation of the pit on the medial articular surface also indicate age. Ossification of bones indicates the phase of growth in the bone which are age dependent. If we take the example of long bones, which are considered to be most suitable for age determination from the ossification in the initial stages, it has only diaphyses and epiphyses and the epiphyses. With the advancing age, they grow and meet with each other, and then epiphyseal plate is formed. It lengthens to unite with epiphysis. When the union is completed, then bone stops growing and only a line called epiphyseal line is visible at the joining place. Most of the bones get ossified by the age 18. Thus the age estimation from this parameter has this limitation. The process of ossification can be observed in and living through radiographic techniques like X-ray and CT scan. Activity 2. You may buy an artificial skull from the market and try to identify the bones. Also, you may see the teeth and try to estimate the age from the type and number of teeth. What would be the approximate height of the individual? The answer to this question is based upon the fact that body parts have two definite relationship with the body height. Forensic anthropologists have tried almost every bone of the body to determine the suture, but long bones, especially of the lower extremity, prove to be more reliable indicator of suture estimation. The methods are based upon derivations of ratios of the bones with total body height. These may be represented in the form of multiplication factors and regression equations. These methods are both population and sex specific, therefore, they must be used with utmost care. When a complete bone is present, then it is measured and multiplied with the multiplication factor of the particular bone, or its value is put in a regression equation, univariate and multivariate, and suture is estimated. But when bone is in the form of fragment, then first attempt is made to estimate the total length of bone, and then from the value stature is estimated, but in such cases definitely reliability of estimate is reduced to a large extent. Regression formulae and the multiplication are both population and sex specific, therefore they must be used very carefully after ascertaining the sex and the ethnic group wherever possible. What are the other characteristic features that can lead to his or identification? This is most difficult to conduct most of the time depending upon what part of a skeletal is found. We may succeed in narrowing down our search for the individual, but it is really difficult on the basis of anthropological methods only to individualize the skeleton, as the identification process is based upon the fact that identifying identity of an object will be more precise if the same is having some special and rarer type of characteristic. Congenital anomaly, congenital anomaly of any type in the bones, fractured bones when healed may develop some deformity, dental treatment as some filling, surgical implants in the bones as nail, screw, etc. are good indicators of individualization. Let's repeat this. What are the other characteristic features that can lead to his or her identification? This is most difficult to conduct most of the time depending upon what part of the skeletal is found. We may succeed in narrowing down our search for the individual, but it is really difficult on the basis of anthropological methods only to individualize the skeleton, as the identification process is based upon the fact that identity of an object will be more precise if the same is having some special and rarer type of characteristics. Congenital anomaly of any type in the bones, fractured bones when healed may develop some deformity, dental treatment as some filling, surgical implants in the bones as nail, screw, etc. are good indicators of individualization. When skull is available for examination, it can be used for personal identification with more than one method. Skull photo superimposition technique is used when photo of the suspect is available, where as when only skull is available or there. Facial reconstruction method can be used to make approximate face of the person to whom the skull may belong. Both the methods have been improved a lot with the help of new technology available. While skull photo superimposition is now done mostly with advanced techniques called computer-based video skull superimposition, the facial reconstruction technique, which involves direct application of clay on the skull or the copy of the skull, is done through 3D computer-based facial reconstruction. The reconstructed faces are flashed in the print and electronic media so that some may recognize the face and report to the authorities concerned. Activity 3. You may ask your friend to volunteer and put his right foot on the white paper. Draw the outline of the foot with the help of black lead pencil on the paper. Measure the maximum length of the foot and multiply it with 6.5. Now measure the height by requisiting him to say against a wall. See how this value differs from the actual height of the volunteer. Thank you very much.